Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Nick Eden, and welcome to another episode of Morning Cup of Merch. So today, we're going to talk just briefly about a post that came up in one of the merch groups, and that was about Lique. If you guys have been in merch, over a couple of weeks at this point, I think you probably at least know Lique. Well, know of Lique. I think one of the big things everybody's always trying to figure out is what's Lique's identity. And I keep saying, like, what does it matter what Lique's identity is? Like, it doesn't mean that you're going to automatically tear up if you find out who Lique is. Even though I will say I'm about 98% sure I know who Lique is and that he actually watches his channel. But that's a whole nother thing. But it doesn't matter. It's more so about, everybody in this kind of keeping up with the Joneses or keeping up with the leaks mentality. And we're going to like break that down today. We're going to talk about it and hopefully get everybody out of that mindset, especially at such a critical time for merch by Amazon leading into Q4. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, guys, so I know the culture of e-commerce in general, this is not something that's specific to merch, but the culture of e-commerce when it comes to things like these social media forums, these Facebook groups, and all of that, is to show your progress. People have different motivations for it. You have, which I believe most people, maybe not in like the Shopify or private label community, but because those are pretty ruthless. But in the merch community, a lot of people are sharing them not to gloat, but as, hey, this is a victory. This is what I did. You're definitely gonna have to find your own niches to do it, but this is what I did with this result. And I think that for the most part, it's definitely in a positive way. You do have some people who, are being braggadocious for the sake of showing this is what I did and you haven't done this. And you can tell by the thread as you read through it. And then you have those people who, quite frankly, are putting up fake numbers. And if I'm being honest, and someone's asked me this before, that's one of the reasons that I don't show my numbers like that anymore. Like I tell you guys, and it's increased. It was a situation where I was a 30 to 40 a week seller. That may not be impressive to most, but so what? I'm here to help the people who are who genuinely need help. I'm trying to help that person who's looking for that first sale, that second sale, that 10th sale, how they can get out of that 10 tier, which I think is the toughest tier there is. But now I have gotten into that realm where I'm about a 50 to 70 week, and I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. Obviously, I want it to be more, but I would much rather. The mistake I made my first year of merch was I was so concentrated on seeing and duplicating the numbers in the groups where this person's doing 150 a week, 200 a week, and it got me to the point where I started to chase trends just to get to that point. And you spend all of these hours and you spend all of these spots that you really could be dedicating to some more sustaining designs to these trends that are going to fade out in a couple of days. And then you're on this wonderful high, right? You're on this wonderful high. And trust me, I get it. I've been there. But you're on this wonderful high, and it's like, oh man, I'm looking at my dashboard, and I'm sitting back and marveling at my success, and I'm taking that screenshot, and I'm posting it in the group. Look, this is what I did. You can do it too, but this is what I did. And then when that trend is over, and you're back down to 20 for the week, or less, then what, right? That's why I don't post my numbers the way I used to. And I don't knock anybody, because I understand that there's a level of validation that comes with posting your numbers. I get that. But it can also lead to things like the post that we're talking about today. And in this regard, we all know Lique does not go into the Facebook groups and post his numbers as, hey, I'm Lique. This is what I'm doing. These are my numbers for today. But if you're doing research and you see the niches that he's in, and he or she dominates the holidays in particular, it's easy to see when you see a BSR of 12,000, 34,000. When you see where, Lique Christmas has, 300 some odd results. And out of that 300 some odd results, 200 of them have BSR. And out of that 200, 100 are under 100,000. Yeah, you know that they're making sales. But it doesn't matter. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm about 98% sure I know who Lique is. I don't care. I would never tell him or her that I know because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what Lique does. I appreciate what Lique does. And I appreciate Lique because it validates, in addition to what I'm doing, and people like Ryan Raymond, and people like Matt and RJ and Helen, Brianna, Amy Nicholas, Amy Springer, Ken Real, it's so many, Matthew Pate, so many people that are out here, Jay Reed, that are putting out this wonderful content and helping Zach Knickerbocker. These guys like this. I appreciate Lique the way I appreciate all of them. Joe Clay and Helen. I already said Helen, but I say Helen twice because she's that dope. But I appreciate Lique the same way I appreciate them, because when it is a situation and I'm talking to someone about merch by Amazon, print on demand overall, I can reference that and see, hey, this is working. And this is working, and it's helping to supply a demand, and increasing demand at that, for apparel, for pop sockets, for different things of that nature, for those of us who sell outside of your traditional e-commerce products that are just on merch. So it gives that validation, and that validation helps to fuel the market. And by fueling the market, you get a chance to expand more. Merch introduces more products. They introduce more resources because they see these things work. So I'm not concerned necessarily about Lique's numbers. I'm not concerned about anybody else's numbers. I'm concerned about mine. And that's the mentality that I have going into Q4. I think that's the mentality that everyone should have. Because yes, you want to see where the market goes, but I'm in niches that maybe Lique isn't in. I'm in niches that he isn't. I'm looking at moving into spaces that far exceed where merch may be going for at least the next year or so. And that's how you have to look at your personal print-on-demand experience. You may be a situation where you're selling on merch and it's not working out well for you. Okay, that's fine. But then you hop on Etsy and you start killing it. Or you could be a person whose account got terminated. Yeah, it happens. And in that regard, if that happens, then you have the opportunity to learn from your mistake and go to another platform, or even your own platform where you can do those things that would get you banned from somewhere else, but I will say that will also get you sued. So don't worry so much about what Lique is doing. Stop trying to keep up with the Liques of the world. Yes, do your research. Yes, do your due diligence. But I've said it time and time again. Some of my best sellers were in niches where when I entered them, there was little to nothing there. And there's still plenty. And I know it doesn't seem like it. There's still plenty of space on merch. Now, somebody will say, well, no, Nick, it's saturated. It may be saturated. If you're doing a dabbing Cupid for Valentine's Day. But there are like 10 other holidays in February. Right? Yeah, if you're doing, a leprechaun, or a leprechaun. Hey, there's a cross niche right there. If you're doing a leprechaun, let's go with that. I might design that. I might design a nice unicorn and a leprechaun. But who knows? And it probably is like 400 of them already on merch. But there's also 15 other holidays in March. between Awareness Month, between National this day and National that day, between it's so much more than just the stuff that everybody does. One of my favorite recording artists by the name of Eric Roberson, he did an album years ago called Left, and his explanation of it, because of his musical style, where the rest of it was R&B, soul centered, where everybody else is going this way, he went left, and create your own lane. And by creating your own lane, you don't have to worry about what Lique's doing. You don't have to worry about what Triple G Mavs is doing. You don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. And the reality is this. If Lique decided today, I'm going to go into my merch account and I'm going to change the brand name on all of my products, then at that point, Lique doesn't exist. He doesn't exist anymore, he or she. They don't exist anymore. Not in the way that you know them. Then it's just whatever brand name they put there. And if they just put funny dabbing Halloween shirts there, you're not the wiser. I mean, if you're looking at the detail of it, yeah, that's one, but you don't know for sure. That's how much it doesn't matter. That really and truly is how much it does not matter what someone else on merch is doing. Because if they change their brand name at any given time, you have no idea who they are. You can try to guess. You can try to, because at this point, it's so many copycats. Hey, let's get a dabbing leprechaun in front of a pot of gold, and it's wonderfully shaded and detailed and everything. You don't know if that's Lique or if that's me or if that's anybody else. Doesn't matter. That's how insignificant it is. So don't worry so much about keeping up with the Joneses. Keep up with yourself. You be your biggest competition. Don't worry, like the post said, about trying to beat Lique. Who cares? Who cares? Shouts out to them. Do your thing. Get your money. But be you. Compete with yourself. Compete with yourself 7 days at a time. That's the only thing that you can really do. And going into Q4 is going to really be a situation where you have to compete with yourself. You know you have X amount of spots to fill. You know what's been selling, what's not selling, what's getting ready to come down. And just switching gears real quick, and I'm going to do on Friday more of a deep dive into Q4 prep. It's time to take some of those designs out back and shoot them in the head. That's an old Yellow reference. This is not violence against animals or anything like that. But it's time to take some of those old designs and shoot them in the head, especially in a situation where we now have a year, because a year on merch gives a lot of people a chance to have a year of clutter. And you have to be able to know, okay, this isn't working right now. Could I have done this design better? I have an opportunity to be indexed before Q4 starts with this, and it has not been selling. Let me go ahead and take this down, and let me try to improve on it. And then when I get a little bit more space, a little bit more time where I can do some better keywording, I can throw this one back up. And that's it. But we'll do more of a deep dive on that on Friday. Again, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell for more notifications, and I'll talk to you next time.